2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions. My name's Tony Dunn. They call me the Professor. I'm here with my homeboy, Cody Lashney. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn, what's up, brother? Like I said on the post-game show, man, I have more fun doing this than I do even watching the Panthers games lately, man. But you already know what it is. I love doing this on a Tuesday night with the most lit Panther fan base on YouTube. Tim Tizzy, Chef Jeff Hodge, Carlton Cohen, Trill One, Sarah Taylor, Underground West, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
CK in the house. He's got his, now we can see every perfection in him because he's got that sick new camera. What's up, CK?
You know, living the dream, man. Now you guys can see how bald I am, and you can.
Oh, I thought you had hair the whole time.
Sorry. I did, and then I washed it. It's gone.
You hate when it happens.
Yeah. So you got that. You got the nice new mic here, so you guys can hear my sultry voice. Possibly.
Dare I say, you're a professional podcaster.
Yeah, I'm a little bit professional, but if you hear some 3-year-olds screaming in the background, this mic may be a little bit too sensitive in that regard, but hey, happy to be here with you boys tonight.
All right. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun show. We got some interesting. I guess there is news at this point, strangely, and Bat Daddy's here too. They call him the Stat Daddy. What's up, Greg?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. Just ready to talk some football. This makes Tuesdays worth getting up for. So.
How crazy is the mailman life right now?
Insane. I just posted a tweet earlier saying it's Tuesday and I have 31 hours already this week. So it's pretty intense.
I am thinking about you all the time as we order our entire Christmas on the internet.
Oh, dude, I've ordered everything off the internet because here's the thing. It sucks working these hours, but it's like a 3 to 4 week span and they pay overtime. So,
yeah,
you know, it's not that bad. You know, when
hey, you make your Christmas money that way.
That's right. That's exactly right.
All right. All right, guys, we want to make sure you subscribe to the show, right? All you got to do is smash the thumbs up button, hit the little bell to be notified that we're going live as we continue to bring you the latest Panthers content from the fan perspective. Follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, the C3 Panthers podcast. And let's go ahead and get into it, guys. The Panthers have lost 6 straight. We were just together, had one of the best post-game shows, oddly, I think we've had in the history of this show. And it was after a loss to the Seattle Seahawks. We did not expect to win, but it kind of just confirmed everything we saw. So we had that good show. And sounds like people have been listening to what we spitting, guys, because Will Grier is here. Cody Lashney, who is the name of our coach now? Farrell? Fuel?
Perry Fuel.
Perry Fuel.
So he had a post-game presser or Monday morning presser, right? Where he came out and said that they're going to evaluate the tape. They said, will you be looking at Will Grier? He said, we're just going to evaluate the tape. We will not tell you till Wednesday. And then he left that room, and 5 minutes later, news broke that Will Grier will be starting for the Carolina Panthers. Jesus,
So
how long did it take?
Okay, did you see my my Twitter post? Man, David Tepper has to be a fan of this show, is he not? I mean, come on. What were we saying on the show? Like, how come David Tepper? And that's kind of what it feels like. Again, maybe this is me just putting my tinfoil hat on, but this kind of feels like, David Tepper kind of has his pulse on the fan base a little more than obviously Jerry Richardson did. And I think he knows that we're all dying to see what kind of player we drafted. And I think this was a David Tepper move. I think this is the first of many David Tepper moves that we've seen. And I'm happy, man. I think we've all wanted this. Allen has been the worst part of our offense, not being able to move the ball. I mean, Allen regressed. Let's just say what it is. He's played worse football than he has in a long time. So I'm happy with the move.
It's actually just been getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that the whole we want to develop this kid and not pull him out and break his confidence from the first misstep he has. That's all gone when he's just progressively gotten worse. It's not like he's getting a little better each week. He's been getting worse. But then I want to go back to your point about the tinfoil hat theory, David Tepper listening to the podcast. Now, you do know I am friends with him, that I've met recently, David Tepper. We have a picture together. Just
you go to pajama parties, right?
Yeah. That's how we rap. Yeah. So anyway, I was thinking about this, is that, there's a couple of people in the media that we all are kind of pounding the same drum, and it's been against the typical narrative. So, and what I've been talking about is, why we should be developing some of these players and different things. And I start thinking about, you said, do they listen to the media? Do they do this and that? I think in the past, and this is my point, I think in the past that we used to just assume that they could tune the media out. There was this idea that the ownership isn't going to be influenced by that. It was almost kind of a tipping point between old paper media and news media, this new age instant, all the time coverage. And we thought that they could resist that. But now I think we're seeing evidence that they don't even deny that they're looking at what people are saying.
Yeah.
Is that how could it would be foolish to not care about what people are talking about.
To a certain extent, yeah. But you've also got to realize that you're running this business and you've got to make, your own kind of decisions. But I do think that they are listening to what the fans are saying. I just think that they've done it a little bit too late. I really, really do, because I think that with 2 weeks left in the season, now, given what's coming up in the future with this decision they're going to have to make with Cam, you haven't given yourself enough time to evaluate Will Grier as a quarterback to see if he is a guy that you can go with in the future. Not in 2 weeks. Not when you're playing one team that doesn't even matter if they win or not. Actually, two teams. We're playing the Colts and the Saints. It doesn't matter if either one of them win. So it
is a move that I think we all have been calling for a long time. I do think it is past due, but I did say on our very last show that I didn't think it was going to happen at all. So in my mind, it's like a small victory. You have to take it. At least they're going to play him. It's against the Colts and the Saints, so it's a team that's really bad and a team that's really good. So we should have two, albeit small, we should have two test samples against what Will Grier can do against a mediocre football team and a really good football team. So it might reveal maybe more than we're thinking. Who knows?
Yeah.
Why is there this idea, though, that or some people like Darren Gant believe or have said that now we're just throwing Will Grier to the wolves and he's almost going to be the fall guy of everybody now? Why do people hold this position? I don't even know how that makes sense, dude.
I mean, there's no one on this show that thinks that, is there?
Well,
No.
That's if people thought that there was still some hope, then he'd be the fall guy. But there's no hope. We've already given up. So hope.
I mean, he's a professional. I've heard multiple people put that on Twitter that he's a professional, right? I mean, he's got to be able to do that.
Yeah.
He's cashing his check. And if you got what it really takes to be good, you know what I'm saying? If you really have that it thing to be good, you want the ball.
Yeah.
You want this moment. It's almost like imagine if a coach, like an offensive coordinator for a team does really well, and a job with like the Browns comes up or something like that, and you have ambitions of becoming a head coach. What if we were like, no, you shouldn't be a head coach yet because we've got to protect you and groom you the right way. If you had the opportunity to step into a CEO role or to a head coaching position and that's what you want, you got to have the guts to go do it while the opportunity's there because it might never be there again. I think Will Grier, if anything, I think he's coming out there motivated to show us he doesn't suck.
100%.
Well, and also it's going against let's be honest, a Colts defense that has not been putting everything together either. So I mean, honestly, if it's about confidence, this is the game to do it, right? The Colts have nothing to play for. They've been officially eliminated as well. The Panthers have nothing to play for. The Colts, Will Grier has a lot more to play for than Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett's already has a lot more game on film, and that defense has, clearly not been able to stop much. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a pretty big game from Christian McCaffrey and Will Grier, but we'll see.
Well, Christian McCaffrey needs like 186 yards to break the 1,000 yards. So I imagine the next two games he's going to go 186 receiving yards. Excuse me, I think something like that. It's not an unachievable number.
It's close.
But it's definitely not unachievable. But he's going to have to catch 7-8 passes the next two games and have some good gains. The only thing is Jacob Brissett has that 2-year, $50 million contract. So you're right. He's not worried about it. The only thing is, man, and I hate saying it like this, the only thing a win does for us is hurt us. And I posted this earlier. Yeah. I want to see Will Grier go out there and have a good game and show us that he's a good quarterback. And he's
maybe we bench him in the fourth. If he throws like 3 touchdowns and is just on fire, we bench him and we protect him and we say we've seen enough. And then we put in Kyle Allen and we lose.
Yeah.
As we throw
Kyle Allen, even though he's not great, is capable of having that drive where he looks phenomenal. Where he's 6 or 7.
We're not worried about that. Don't worry. We're not worried about Kyle Allen winning any more games. Kyle Allen, I bet you, has a better chance of never winning a football game ever again in his history of career than he does winning one.
Oh, no.
So Alex Stark in the YouTube chat says, if we're on the whole tank talk, we need to cheer for the Jags, the Jets, the Chargers, and the Broncos. And Brad Dugan says, is it bad that I'm already doing mock drafts on FanSpeak while listening to the C3 podcast? And to that, I would say no, man. There's no shame in that at all. It's that time of year already, and it is a very real possibility that the Panthers have a top 10 pick. Right now, I think we're sitting at number 8. Yeah, and you did, man. Hey, shout out to the stat daddy, man.
Hey, call me Greg Adamus, man. I'm telling you because
Greg Adamus. Yeah. Greg Adamus, the bat daddy with foresight, man.
And it's possible we get farther down the list.
Yeah, exactly. True, and that's what we're saying. And yeah, if we lose right now, it does hurt us, and we do have a top 10 pick, and there is a lot of good talent to be had in this draft in the top 10, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I know Greg wanted to ask some questions, and we'll do that. But yeah, right now, and listen, whenever you have a top 10 pick, they become Christian McCaffreys. Like, these are the types of players that we're talking about when you're picking in that top 10. So listen, there's not a whole lot to be excited about in Panther football. So if it has to be a draft pick, man, do it to it, dude. Keep pounding. That's what I say.
Guys, the Charlotte Hornets are going to be playing the Cavaliers tomorrow night, as well as the Hurricanes are going to be in Colorado. They'll be back in Raleigh on Saturday, and I want to let you know that if you want to get to one of these games or even go on the road and be one of those Lone Warrior Panther fans, you can get tickets you want for a price you like by downloading the Vivid Seats app. You can sort by price, by seat, by event. Super easy. If you use the promo code OVERTIME, you can get up to $100 discount at checkout for first-time buyers. They have a rewards plan. You can get the more you buy, I guess, then the more points off you get or more credit you get on your next purchase. Every purchase is 100% buyer guaranteed. Go to Vivid Seats, get the app, promo code OVERTIME. Guys, there was some news today, and speaking of going to events, I have no idea anything about it, but David Tepper did announce, right, that Charlotte's getting a MLS team, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yes, we are.
Yep.
Tell me why I should care about this.
Well, so, I mean, I don't know how big of fans everyone is of soccer. I'm really not at all. I'm one of those types of dudes that, like, every 4 years when the World Cup runs around, I'll watch it for the event, for the spectacle of it, and pull for a non-existent USA team. But I'm looking at this as my jump-off point. I live in Charlotte, so
Great way to look at it.
Yeah, if they're gonna have a team, then I'm gonna be a fan of them. I'm gonna pull for them. David Tepper is already creating a rivalry with Atlanta United. So, dude, any way to say fuck you to Atlanta, I'm all about that noise. I don't know a whole lot about soccer, but I mean, this could be an opportunity for people like myself to kind of jump on board and learn the sport and see why literally people all over the world love it.
Yeah. No, dude, I could not agree with you more. That is 100% exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
This is kind of my jumping off point with them too. I watch a little soccer, but nothing serious at all. Like, I understand the game. Soccer is basically hockey on a field, which is basically basketball, on the court. They're all very, very similar in the rules and how they're played, with a lot of little differences. But I just love competition. But to have a pro soccer team here, to be able to go to a game, that changes it up for me right there. Like, I might be able to go down to a game and check it out. That'd be really, really fun. I'd like to get into soccer. It's the most popular sport in the world, probably for a reason. Yeah. So, I might as well check it out.
I feel like the energy. I feel like the energy in the stadium is probably a little bit better as well. Just because you see what happens overseas. Now, I could be wrong here in the States, but I'd be interested to watch one of those in Bank of America. If I'm being honest, that would be a pretty cool.
That's not where they're gonna play, are they?
Yeah. So they want to make Bank of America where the Panthers and the new team plays. Which, by the way, my vote is for Queen City FC. That's my vote, because there is no team.
I do.
Now.
I like that name a lot, but here's the thing: is like I don't think I can really get into it, man. I'm going to tell you this: is I feel like I'm going to be like a bandwagoner because I just think I'm just not into soccer, dude.
Yeah, that'll be how like it is for me with all the other sports down in Charlotte with the Hornets and the. The hockey team. I keep on forgetting their name.
The Hurricanes.
I don't pay attention.
The Charlotte one.
I don't pay the Canes. Yeah, I don't pay attention to any of those unless they're actually doing well. So I agree with Tony on that front. But
I just always thought soccer was so damn boring, man. I was just always like, good God. Like, I do like the intensity of the World Cup because it is like Europeans
so much on the
taking.
line.
It's really because the fans make it. Yeah, and the fans make it like crazy. I was on my honeymoon in 2006, and we were in the Canary Islands. It's like part of Spain, and it was during World Cup, and these like English dudes came out after the game, and they were like all wrapped in their UK flag, their England flags, their England flags. They were like throwing beer bottles and shit. They were just so fucking rowdy. And so I guess that's cool how the rest of the world who calls it football. But, man, I'm just always like, damn, we just sat here for 4 hours and you bitches didn't even come close to scoring.
Yeah,
Like, and that goal.
That's
that.
always the joke that people don't want to watch 3 hours just to see a tie ball game of 0-0.
God,
Like,
and the
yeah,
goal is so big. It's the size of a damn school bus. And you're like, how do you assholes not get this thing in there, dude?
I would
one guy
normally
guard.
be on your side there,
Hey.
but the thing you've got to admit about soccer is it is nonstop.
Yeah,
like it
it's
is.
tough.
Even when they stop,
It's
like
nonstop.
for
A guy's kicking the ball all the way across and everybody running a mile. It's so
Exactly,
big.
yeah.
God.
yeah, but can't
me
you
tell you,
appreciate the
I wish-
athleticism with that?
Let
Oh,
me tell
yeah.
you,
I mean, I don't watch cross country
Ronaldo's
runners though.
money, dude. I tell you that much, dude. Cristiano Ronaldo, the soccer, I don't even know who he plays for, dude. He is like the most popular man on the planet.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah,
dude
yeah.
cannot go anywhere in the world without being mobbed. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
not some places in America, but even still, like that dude is a mega star.
Have I ever
Yeah.
have I ever told you my Tony's ways to fixing the game of
Yes,
soccer?
we even did this segment on the show before.
All right.
Well,
all right.
Think about it like this, man. You're talking about Ronaldo, how big he is across the world. Think about how big LeBron James is. Even if you're a basketball fan, you know who LeBron James is. And
Right.
I mean, like, and he's bigger than LeBron James. Like, that's probably
Yeah.
like number 1, number 2 sports stars in the world, and he's way above where LeBron James. And it's crazy to think about that because LeBron's huge.
So this
But,
is kind of like where I'm at on the. I'm not a huge fan of soccer either, and I already said that. Like, my sports need violence. Okay, I'm a football fan and I'm an MMA fan, and I'm a diehard on both of those. But I think Charlotte has a very large Hispanic population, and that's something that they want to build up more here and get those fans interested in something too. And there's no way I'm not going to pull. Let's say they start winning real games and they're competitive and they're a good football club. I mean, yeah, I'm going to pull for them. I'm going to know the players and watch them and open myself up to something new. But I don't blame you for feeling that way, Tony. That's how I felt about what was that football?
AFL. The AFL.
Dude, I could not give a damn
Yeah,
about the
I
AFL. And
I
by
tried.
the way, spoiler alert.
At least
I'm
it's
not
a
gonna
sport I
give a
like.
damn. I'm not going to give a damn about the XFL either.
Why?
Wow.
Josh
Watch
Gordon's
it.
going to go
I'll
in
check
there.
it out.
Oh, what
I
about this Josh
Could
Gordon?
not care less.
I'm so
Hold on,
mad
real
at
quick,
Josh
before-
Gordon.
Yeah,
Before we get off this real quick, I do want to say that, like, I really do think that the reason why a lot, not honestly most, because I don't even know the stat wise, a lot of Americans, at least that I know, don't like soccer as much is because it's not as immediately gratifying as other sports. Whereas you look at hockey or basketball, which is virtually the same game with a condensed field, and so you score a lot more. They're more exciting to American fans, especially.
That's why they got to
It's
make the
even more
soccer
fast-paced
field
than hockey.
smaller.
But here's the thing. I think
Just
to
a
like
little bit.
soccer, to like soccer, you either need a cultural pull to it, like your country is big into soccer, or
Right.
you need some kind of connection, like you played it when you were a kid, or your father loved it and you watched it because your father loved it. It's like
Yes.
baseball. Like most people don't like baseball because it's very slow paced. I enjoy baseball, but it's definitely I don't mind missing a baseball game, but I won't miss a football game type thing if I
Well,
can.
that's there's one
So-
reason for that is because is like I love baseball. I think it's a phenomenal
Yeah.
sport. It's just the problem is
So
it's
many
160 damn games.
so
dude.
many games.
It's
Yeah.
just like
I'll give you that.
and I heard this, and let's go. We'll kind of pivot back to the Panthers on this. Is I saw Kyle Bailey, one of the WFNZ guys. He was in talks with people about the concept of a true fan, because people are saying like, oh, these true fans are abandoning the team when they stink, and nobody's getting this and that. And he was saying, can you be a true fan and just like not ready, not wanting to allocate your time and money to something that isn't very good at the moment, right? And I think that the question I have for you guys is that as long as the Carolina Panthers are bad, right? Like, how do we get interested in them? And I need it. I'm asking for a friend. How do we stay interested in this team in these last couple of weeks without only looking at the draft, Cody?
find other sports? Or
No,
get
why? All
into
right,
college
let's talk about
football?
Christian McCaffrey then. How about this? Why is it that we're even talking about him setting records? Why is he going to be playing? Tell me that. What do we need to learn
Well,
about
and
him?
this is a good point, and it's something that we need to bring up. Like, I mean, I kind of don't believe that you should play scared. So if he's able to play and he wants to play, then let him play. I mean, he agreed to play a whole season, but then I understand why risk hurting him for next year. But I just think that there's a look to that. There's like a morale issue. It's like the season's not over. I know we suck. I know there's always next year. You gotta look forward to it. But at
That's
the
a
end
good
of the
point.
day, at the
Good
end of the
point.
day, I mean, you signed up to play football, and you have not fulfilled your obligation to play that many games. And by the way, there's even money involved. So they want to make sure that they earn all the money that they get from their contract in playing every single game possible. So
What about this? What if you don't make it as blatant though, and just say, "Well, we're shielding Christian McCaffrey"? But what if you give him like 4 or 5 carries, and
How
then we
about
say
just
this?
let
Why though?
or
Let's-
just lessen
Yeah.
the load. Play Scarlett. Play
Yeah.
Bonifant.
Well, Scarlett,
No,
I think,
no,
is on IR.
No.
I think Scarlett's on IR.
No, dude. Look. Christian McCaffrey's what? 24 years old? 23?
23, 24.
Something like that. Very, very
I wanna
young.
look that up.
Very, very young. Okay, but he has a chance to be one of 3 people ever in the NFL to have 1,000 receiving and 1,000 rushing. He has He has offensive player. It's not that long. Not that bad. But he has a chance to be offensive player of the year. He probably will be. Like, why would you rob him of that? Because what kind of injury can he have right now that will prevent him from
Oh my
starting next
God,
season?
he's fucked now. You just fucked him.
Oh, no.
What kind of injury could he have now? I will list a whole bunch of them. How close is he? How close is he?
So
You've got 9 months till the start of next season.
No, I don't care about. I'm talking. He's
So
like
he
this.
needs
Is
to
how much
average-
rehab time does he got? Okay, hold on. All right, so he has this Russian. Oh, where is it? 2019. Is that where we're at?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
he's
He has
the leading rusher in the
1,300
NFL.
yards rushing
Yeah,
right now.
which is crazy. The leading rusher in the NFL is 1,300 yards rushing. That's a bad year in rushing for the
He
NFL.
has 814 yards receiving. So what if we do this? What if I meet you in the middle, Greg, and I say
186.
no more rushing plays, only as a receiver?
Let's do it.
I mean,
Okay,
what,
I
you
mean,
wanna-
why not? Why not?
Or-
He
okay,
could probably
but
do
hold
it.
But
Hold on,
here
let's-
is that if you're the Carolina Panthers, you're not looking at Christian McCaffrey about him setting historical records, though, dude.
If
Why
you're
not?
gonna play him at
Why would
receiver,
you not want that on your as a Panther? Like, why would you not want that as your franchise to say we have one of 3 guys that had 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000? That's a seriously
I think we'd rather have a
crazy,
playoff berth.
unachievable thing. No, I agree, but that's impossible now. We can't have
Agreed.
a playoff berth. So
Yeah.
why worry about that now? Now worry about what you can have. You know?
if you did put him in the slot, that means you're sending him across the middle into linebacker territory to potentially get blown up. So I don't know. Maybe listen. I say
Just
just play
start him on the
man.
X, man. Like,
Yeah,
he
I mean,
really,
yeah,
he
yeah,
really
put him
could.
out wide.
Like, he
Yeah, put him
seriously
out
could.
Yeah, put
Yeah.
him at the X. I'm not mad at it, dude. And listen, I'm not even saying don't play. I'm not saying don't play McCaffrey. Let him play, but let's give Jordan Scarlett and Bonifant some
I'm
time
pretty
to
sure
play.
Jordan was put on IR, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I might be
Yeah,
wrong.
because he got hurt like a couple weeks ago when they actually decided to put him in, and so, but I think it was on special teams that he got hurt, and so they put him on IR.
Lynn says they would make a big deal out of it with CMC breaking the record. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would generate some immediate support right now. But if he was to get hurt in the way that he can't get hurt by getting whatever Greg said, I don't even want to say the words. I'm trying to dance around it.
93 yards receiving a game is all he needs.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
lot,
not
dude.
impossible.
That's
let's
a
be
lot.
honest.
That's still like a
he could go-
workhorse.
But think about it this way, Tony. He could literally have 150 yards receiving this week against
Easy.
that
Very
that
easy.
Indianapolis
Yes.
Colts.
Yes.
You know, he's not going against a Colts defense that is top tier. It's not bad. It's middle of the pack.
Let's
And
move
because
into a
he's playing
different
things
name.
that don't on anything.
How about a couple of different names then? I'll give you. Is that on the one reason Christian McCaffrey, you guys want to see him go and take more reps there? What about Brian Burns? 7 snaps, dude.
Yes,
this
please.
game, as well as Christian Miller has not played in weeks. Why do we care at this point? What do we benefit from not playing guys like Marquise Haynes, like Brian Burns, like Christian Miller, like there's probably 2 other names that we could probably come up with there. What the hell's going on with that?
Well, they said that this past game it had to do with the Seahawks. They wanted to play a 4-3 scheme against the Seahawks. Well, my question is, what happens next year if we decided to go back to a 4-3, which has been more successful for us, depending upon whichever defensive coordinator we decide to hire? All these things are big what ifs, but if we do that, do we then trade away Brian Burns? Is that what the message is at that point in time? Because Brian Burns is, like Cody has said from the day he was drafted, he played the majority of his snaps in Florida with his hands in the dirt.
Yeah.
You know, he is not just a stand-up, type of defensive end. It's not that type of a situation. So the fact that they're using that as an excuse, does that mean if we decided to move to that type of a defense next year that they don't have confidence in his ability to be a defensive end in that system?
Well, let me ask you, do you think that Brian Burns can play in a 4-3 and be successful?
He did.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. When you play with your hand in the dirt as a big
I got you.
end, yeah, you're a 4-3. You're setting the edge. And I brought this up last year when we were doing the Better Know a Potential Panthers draft pick segment, which we're definitely going to be doing again this year. That's a promise.
Can we start that early? I'm just kidding.
We might have to keep viewers. But no, so he's one of those types of guys. I mentioned I'm a huge MMA fan earlier, and if you know anything about John Jones or Anderson Silva, they're these really tall, long guys. And even though they're not necessarily rocked up with muscles, they use their leverage and their length so well. And Brian Burns is that kind of frame that even if he isn't ever going to be 270 pounds, by the length of his arms and his ability to shoot and be able to use his length as a weapon, he can play a base in a 4-3 defense. And now he's in an NFL strength and conditioning program. There's no reason for him not to be able to do that. There is absolutely no reason in the world why your first-round draft pick should be playing 7 snaps. Dude, that is the dumbest. That infuriates.
But here's the thing.
Really
even if you believe that he's not able to do it the 4-3, why would you not get him the reps at that?
Right.
That makes more sense to me. Would you rather have your defensive end be able to not only play 4-3, but play 3-4 as well? If you're saying that he's only available to do 3-4, that's a problem. But if you're going to actually do the hybrid, he needs to be a bigger part of this defense. And, it's a moot point at this point in time. Obviously, I think that he deserves
It's not
to be
a
out
moot
there.
point because it is. You're right. But here, listen to this. Bruce Irvin played 47. Mario Addison played 48 snaps. Bruce Irvin played 47 snaps. McCoy played 45. Butler played 42. Kyle Love played 23. Horton played 22. Obata 20. Right, Jermaine. I don't even know who is S. McGee.
Can you
S.
please stop
McGee?
reading?
S. McGee
name
played
you read-
14 snaps.
Infuriating, dude.
Who is
It's
S.
so
McGee?
fucking
Does anybody know who S. McGee is?
Well,
No idea.
And so what
clearly
I
it was
don't,
important.
I'm with CK so much on this. Is why even if you don't think he's the best at it, like why? What are you trying to learn about Horton
And by the way,
or
Bruce Irvin-
Obata?
Bruce
Is a
Irvin
3-4
and Mario-
linebacker.
Yes, Bruce Irvin and Mario Addison are not even base 4-3 defensive ends either. So it makes no sense. By the way, Bruce
I need to know
Irvin
who this
and
McGee person is.
Well, look at that. Yeah, Stacey McGee says Alec McKenzie in the chat.
Who the hell is that?
But by the way, Mario Addison and Bruce Irvin are not going to be on this team next year, more than likely, unless we re-sign one or both of them. But guess who is definitely going to be on the team next year?
For 4 more years at least.
Brian Burns.
Oh, he's a nose tackle. All right, that's why.
It is the dumbest shit in the world. And that's what I'm saying. This whole staff, they have to go, man. Well, maybe not
the whole staff.
Maybe not the
whole staff,
yeah,
but
maybe,
the whole
all right,
staff.
Maybe
I think so. I don't think I want.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think I want
janitor in the
any
mailman.
remnant. I don't think I want any remnant of this team anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
at this
fed
point,
up.
I'm almost ready to cut bait. I mean, keep the anchors and just kind of. And the anchors are the problem, right? You know, we think about the anchors. What are the anchors at this point? Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore,
Luke Kuechly.
Luke, obviously. Shaq Thompson's going to clearly be there.
Yeah.
He showed up.
James Bradbury, Eric Reed, which I know some people have some mixed emotions about.
We got to
his,
deal
performance
with
this year.
we got to deal with Reed for one more year. And I'm irritated by Reed not because of his political stance, but because I always see him getting burnt in coverage.
But he's also one of the second leading tackler on our team.
Yeah, which is not
which isn't a good thing.
It's not a good thing, but he may get burnt, but he at least he's making tackles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all right. I'll deal with him for another year. How about that? Is that right now? I would say I may deal with Trey Boston for another year if I have to.
Oh.
But all right. Let's do this before we. I do got to do this read for CBS. Well, you tell me, guys. What do you think about Dante Jackson? We mentioned a little bit before we went on the air. Is that we saw him have a rough game and that post game. You were all there to see it. We could all see it. Some of it that, we thought maybe they didn't do him any favors by matching DK Metcalf up against him. We all saw him getting picked on. But then as I turn on the radio, as I look at Twitter, people have kind of reported the worst damn game a corner could have almost, it seemed. People are so down on his performance on Sunday. How do we deal with a player like Dante Jackson at this point in the season? Do you just give him a little bench time right now and then hope that you can work something out with the next staff?
I think you force him to change his Twitter handle from Action Jackson to Fraction Jackson at this point in time. If you ask me,
I approve.
He needs to be taken down a peg. And I said it before. I've said it for a couple of weeks now. It doesn't feel like he's coachable. He doesn't seem to. He comes out after he makes boneheaded mistakes and calls out the team, and then when he finally has a conversation about, hey man, maybe you shouldn't do that type of stuff, he then says, oh yeah, I didn't mean to say it the way that it was said, and it was something that shouldn't have been said in front of the cameras. Nonetheless, take all of that out of the equation. He just doesn't feel coachable. He doesn't feel like he's progressing, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So I did want to bring. Well, go ahead, Greg. I'll go after you.
Well, I was just saying what he was talking about. I do got to say though, nowadays with athletes, it's got to be so much more difficult for them to not be emotional and not say anything because, it used to be a situation where you could say stuff and it was looked at differently, and you could say stuff and it not be caught on 1,000 cameras, and it was a whole lot easier to have that stuff not leaked out, what you were saying or your emotions at the time. It just seems like it's easy to have an emotional outburst if you're an athlete. I feel like sometimes, even though some are not justified. It's hard to get away from that. You got to watch everything you do. So,
how many times have you seen somebody on the Panthers actually call out coaching staff outside of Dante?
That's true.
I mean, he's the only one that I really remember that did it while they were still on the team. Yeah, for sure.
But don't we call out the coaching staff? Don't we think maybe sometimes they should call out the coaching staff?
I think so, but I think to do it in front of the media creates a narrative that now has to be talked about every time that the cameras are on.
That's true.
About what type of culture you have there. And that's what happened with Jim Harbaugh and the 49ers.
You're on the same team as these guys. Even though they're not your teammates, they're your coaches, you're on the same team. So it's just like you're throwing the player next to you under the bus. Once you start that process, it's a slippery slope. And then now, I didn't mess up. Well, what's his face messed up? And it's just a slippery slope.
And how
But I
can we be
wanted-
mad at Ron
Yeah.
for not falling on the sword when the players are constant? If the players aren't able to do it either, So at the same
I
time,
tell you, the problem with Dante wasn't just saying something about the media. I do think if that becomes a habit of team, like if it gets in there and grows and festers, then okay, then I'll get upset about it. Because I think Greg's right. Is that like, hey, look, we can understand people are imperfect, have their emotions. He comes out and has like a sort of seem like an honest, authentic apology for it and trying to get back. Here's the real reason, though, that it's going to fester. It's not because of his comments. It's because those comments, and then he came out and played like shit the next week, like terrible. Right. And that's the thing, is that's what's hurting him more than anything, is not only is his mouth, it's like, who cares about the mouth except for when you're playing like shit. And he's playing terrible. And now, though, I think Cody is kind of behind me on this, is that while we can all admit that, and that's why I say give him some pine time. You know what I'm saying? Just put him down, for half of the game, get some other guys some action, see whatever the hell. It doesn't really matter. And then, but I don't think that we need to believe that Dante Jackson is like can't be a corner in this league. I think that's premature,
No.
Cody.
He's shown that he can.
Yeah.
Right.
And you never want to give up on talent. I mean, every player is different. Sometimes players don't go from one team. Look at how many players have left the Miami Dolphins and are now all of a sudden good players, man. Ryan Tannehill, Kenyon Drake. I mean, there's more too. But I wanted to highlight some comments in our chat room because there's some ideas that are floating around from Underground West and Moneybags Lawson. And that's the idea of playing Dante as a free safety. So letting him use that speed and that ball hawkishness and that ability to want to just go and hit, He's not a tackler in that he wraps up, but he wants to put the boom on you. I mean, he's done it before. Would it benefit him to maybe play him as a free safety and put him in that single high spot and just kind of let him play the football like a Earl Thomas or what's the guy for the Colts that they just drafted? His name escapes me right now, but it might be a good change of scenery for him. I don't know.
With that question brings another question I have for you. At that position, are you not needing to be a heavy hitter, right? You need to be able to take down.
Not really at free so much.
Well,
Right.
Here's the thing: is if you're playing free safety, you've got the running back who's gotten past everybody else. He's in the secondary with a full head of steam. Don't you want somebody who's able to take him down as opposed to get run over? And I think Dante Jackson is the one to get run over.
Well,
You could probably say that too when you line him up across from like Julio Jones.
Right.
Yeah. Do you feel like he has I mean,
I think
and I could be wrong.
I think
Do
what's
you feel like-
intriguing about the idea is that if Dante does get caught on the wrong hash and he's free safety, he can get there
He's able
and
to
get
catch
that
it.
catch. He could go make that. He can get over there. So
100%.
I think there is something to here. Is that I would probably say I'd like to see him continue to work at corner because I do think he has the ability to do that. I think that we'd be interested to see him at slot corner. But I think the free safety thing, if none of that works out, I think that should be put on a let's try this.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it, and the good free safeties in the NFL, they can shut out an entire portion of your playbook, just because they know opposing quarterbacks know there are just certain throws on certain routes that if there's a good enough safety back there, they're going to bite on those routes and take the ball away. And think about what a free safety is. It's your last line of defense against the deep ball. So ideally, you want a speedy guy back there to be able to make moves and make plays on the football. So think of what Eddie Jackson does for the Bears.
All right, so people in the chat room are saying Jackson at free safety would be terrible. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people like Trey Boston, like Bill Daltrey, and I think Trey has been better in his second stance. Some people don't. I tell you one thing
He got
is
run
that
over.
yeah,
Trey, but
got
that's the
run over
point,
this
too.
week.
Trey Boston's not a hitter either. to Moneybag Lawson's point.
But
Before we move on,
I've seen a highlight reel of him making hits, and his hits can land.
Oh, he can thump. Yeah,
he
make some
can.
good
He
hits.
can. He
Yeah.
can. I
Yeah.
think he's
He
played
got run
pretty
on the
well for his one. I think he's been not my least favorite person on this player. I tell you that on this
I
team
agree.
is that while I'm not ready to go say let's sign Trey Boston to a deal.
He brings that energy to that secondary.
Is that imagine this team without Trey Boston this year? Is everybody would have just cried, him and McCoy? Everybody would quit. All right, I do want to say before we move on. Today's episode of the C3 Panthers podcast is brought to you by CBS Sports HQ. It's the brand new streaming sports news network. It's live 24/7, costs you nothing. And I believe, actually, I know this is Jonathan Jones, former reporter for the Charlotte Observer, then to Sports Illustrated, is now with CBS and doing a lot of things with CBS Sports HQ. It's the coverage that's always focused on the game, tons of highlights, breaking news as it happens, and it's real kind of heady talk. They're trying to make CBS HQ not this, catchphrase or byline for hot news or fresh or hot takes. Instead, this is supposed to be comprehensive coverage of the NFL, informed coverage of all sports, and just make sure you go download the app, CBS Sports app, and watch CBS Sports HQ today. All right, why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and get into the cat calls, and then we'll see where the conversation goes.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his snow? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey, how y'all doing tonight? This is Kino Loco, a Panthers fan, and a fan of y'all's podcast. I'm just gonna tell y'all that the Panthers, they're going through a rough patch right now, and we're just that can't get right team right now. We just can't get right, can't do nothing right, can't. Mediocre team, kind of like Dallas.
We're bad. We're not mediocre.
We got some bright things we can do, but just all in all, we just mediocre. Getting beat by everybody, and I just hope we get a bit better team.
My man. Well, so do we. All right, let's go on to the next call. Let's see if it's the same one.
What's up, guys? Kyle from VA.
What's up, Kyle?
I couldn't make the post-game show because I was driving 4.5 hours to home from the game, but
I had to do that after.
Anyway,
actually, it
Bank of
wasn't that
America
bad.
was surprisingly way more packed than I was expecting it to be. A lot of Seahawks fans, but there was a lot of Panthers fans there too. After watching that live, man, it's just Kyle Allen is just shit. And they're putting in Will Grier this week. I'm kind of hoping Will Grier does good, but doesn't fuck this draft stock up for us. Seeing Brian Burns on the sideline, that was just depressing. Yeah, but I think the best part of the game, and I think anyone who's a real Panthers fan will agree, is when they showed Cam up on the Jumbotron. And, I mean, the excitement in the stadium was through the roof. I know as soon as I saw his face, like, I just got up and started yelling. It was amazing.
I think we all did.
Game. But anyway, CMC and Luke just got named for the Pro Bowl. I just got that notification. I mean, that's about it for tonight. DJ Moore continues to ball out. Defense continues to look like shit, but I don't think you can pin it on one guy at this point. I'm going to give Dante some slack because, like Cody's been saying, everyone on our defense playing like shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, can't wait for the show tonight, guys. Keep pounding.
All right, man. Let's keep pounding through.
Hey, guys. This is Zach. I'm a first-time caller.
What's up, dude?
I just want to know what you guys think, like, where you think Kyle Allen is going to go after this season? Do you think he's going to stay on the roster, or think he's going to maybe sign with somebody else? 'Cause I think maybe he could get signed by somebody else and maybe be a starter, but probably not. I enjoy the show. I watch every Monday and Tuesday during work. Yeah. Have a good day, guys.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. Good question about this is now that we've got Will Grier coming in, and you could see Will Grier potentially, maybe, I mean, you're going to see him for 2 games, hopefully. And I hope what we're going to see is a guy who the moment doesn't look too big for him, that I'm okay with him making some mistakes and things potentially, I don't expect him to come in here and just be looking fantastic. If he does, that could cause and generate some real buzz going into the draft. Maybe you can find some stock in the draft when it comes to potentially a trade. I don't know how that would go. But when it comes to Kyle Allen, guys, I don't know if I can see Kyle Allen getting signed to a place where he would be this rightful starter from day one. I think that maybe a team is going to give him a position as a backup. Do you guys think that team is Carolina?
Not if Cam Newton's on the roster.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know how commonplace it is for a team to carry 3 quarterbacks, but we have much more invested in Cam Newton, which is obvious. We have a 3rd-round pick invested in Will Grier. Yeah, I just think that Kyle, listen, man, sometimes you either have it or you don't. And I think that we were showing that Kyle doesn't have it. And I'm not saying this to shit on the young man, but there's a reason why he was never a starter anywhere in college that he ever played. From Texas A&M to Houston, for whatever reason, he was just never able to win the job. And then all of a sudden, he had an NFL starting job thrusted upon him. And I don't know if that was ever the right thing to do. Now, he did well early on, but later on down the road, you saw what happens when you put him in an NFL game over the course of an NFL season. Now, maybe by some chance happening, he turns it on and becomes a competent NFL player. But I don't see any of the traits that causes him to be even a backup that would allow you to be confident about your chances if your starter went down. To me, he's the definition of a 3rd stringer.
I think he's going to be on a practice squad next year.
I agree. I don't know about it. I think he's had enough real-time action to actually be a backup somewhere. And I think that people are going to look at him as a project, but I think they're going to see the ability for him to be successful. What I think is you need to have a group of guys that have, and I'm not saying that are exactly like Cam Newton, especially if we have him still next year, but we need a group of guys who are able to still run the same offense Cam Newton's able to run. And here's my thought, and it depends on a lot of different things, and maybe this isn't a copycat league. It's something that's worked really well, and we did it first with Joe Webb, right? But Taysom Hill experiment that's happened down in New Orleans, it's worked out really, really well. But Taysom Hill plays everywhere, right? He doesn't just play quarterback. He plays running back, wide receiver. He does all of these things that I think make him a lot more valuable than just a 3rd-string quarterback, which we've seen no evidence that he's anything but. Right. Just because he's not played anything. Anytime he's back there, he's usually not throwing the ball, and he hasn't necessarily had incredible stats when he's throwing the ball up to this point. But my thought is Cam Newton. We'll see what Will Grier does. I think Will Grier is going to earn a backup spot with whatever performance he puts on these last couple of weeks. But number 3 is going to really depend upon how this offseason goes with the XFL, because I think Taylor Heineke could come out and ball out, and I think he could provide something beyond just the quarterback room. Like, I think he could play special teams because he has Taylor Heineke. He knows the offense.
He's not on the team, though, right?
No. I'm saying, yeah, absolutely. We're going to see. He's the starting quarterback for the XFL St. Louis team.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's been named the starting quarterback for them. So he's
Cody, how much you care about that?
Not a care in the world, dude.
Okay, back to CK.
Not a care in the world.
But I mean, I think we need, if we're going to carry 3 quarterbacks, it needs to be 3 that not only have the ability to run the game the way that Cam Newton runs the game to some degree with some athleticism, so that the offensive line isn't learning how to block for a whole new type of quarterback. That's, I think, where the problem then comes into place, is you have Cam Newton, who will get outside of the pocket and throw the ball really well, but also can stay in the pocket. I think that's a different type of blocking when you talk about being an offensive line. But if you can get some...
I'm 100%. I'm 100% convinced that Kyle Allen will not be a Panther next year.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely,
I think
agree.
that, in fact, is that I don't, and about Taylor Heineke. Like, I don't want anything that has anything to do with this team other than I'm okay with Will Grier because he's a draft pick. You gotta, I mean, you know, like, let's see what that happens. But if there's no reason for any of these guys to be associated, I think this is the good news that we can now think ahead. Is that now that we're doing such a wholesale change to the team, we don't have to deal with these long-term connections and these long-term relationships to people like Colin Jones or what it was with Graham Gano before that or whatever. Pick whoever it is that you want to be pissed at this second. And this is the time that we can cut it all away. Cut it out like cancer.
Before we go forward, so you mentioned something, and I want to kind of piggyback off of what CK was saying with Taysom Hill. Why don't we use Colin Jones in other scenarios? If he's the best athlete on our team, like Ron Rivera has said for years, hey, why isn't that asshole back at punt returner? Why don't we use him?
Haven't they had him back there before?
Dude, why don't we?
I've never seen it. I've never seen him field one, but maybe.
Okay, if he's a nomad, if he's not a safety, if he's not a starter on your football team, but you don't want to waste that athleticism, why don't we do like the Saints do and use Colin Jones in other inventive ways if you're going to have him on the football team?
Because that's pedestrian, dude. We use Brian Burns as a gunner. We use our first-round draft pick as a gunner because he's really fast and big, and if he gets down there, you don't know how he's going to mix it up. Cody,
because our coaches aren't smarter than dude. What are we doing here, man? We have a bunch of children on our coaching staff. I'm saying let's do some new shit, man.
How about this? That should be Dante Jackson's punishment. You're on punt duties, bitch.
Tepper wants analytics. He wants innovation. Let's do some innovative shit, dude. Because I don't care what you say about Taysom Hill. Dude, they use him to effectiveness. And when he is on the field, you have to be aware of what
we are doing. Innovative shit. We're not using our first-round draft pick, dude. How innovative is that?
We're retarded, but you're not allowed to say that.
Nah, man, that's analytics.
Janoris Jenkins, get out of
here. Yeah, and dude, then the Saints picked him up. So
did they? Did they? Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah,
that's so. I hate the Saints, but good. But good for them. All right. I think we got only like 2 more calls.
Oh wow.
Right.
Hey guys, this is Joey Escobar, and I just gotta say,
Joey.
Number one, based on the title of the show, Grier is here. Is this for real? Or
it is.
Is this just wishful thinking?
It's not official, but pretty much.
I don't know.
Oh, it's been multiply confirmed by multiple reporters.
I probably won't get to say this before Christmas Eve, because are y'all really going to go live on Christmas Eve?
No.
This year?
No.
But
we will go early or late.
Help me deal with being a Panthers fan when we suck. I used not to listen to post games because I was too emotional. But now I do, because it really helps.
You got a family, bro.
It helps me feel like I'm not.
We're going to get through this together.
It's a therapy session.
I would like to say that I really appreciate all of the C3 family, and I just want y'all to know that being on this show is like Panthers Anonymous.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, man. Get on the couch. Take a seat on the couch, bro.
Call it PA.
Appreciate
Merry
that
Christmas.
love, Joey.
Merry Christmas. And Joey Esquivel, also, if you have any trouble calling in the future, please send me a message, because when I was clicking around, it did. I want to make sure I didn't accidentally block your number, but I don't think I did. Anyway, that's just as I'm downloading these calls, sometimes I get insane myself. Next call. Merry Christmas, by the way. Thank you.
Something's up with the YouTube live chat. It's saying that it's like not available.
Oh, and he's upset. That's Joey. That was because we went live and it busted. And now we are live. Guys, I think we do have to realize that it's a long road ahead. A long road ahead. We're going to need each other, and we're going to need to motivate each other to care right now.
Yeah,
and we're going to have to.
Our off season has already started, so we're going to have to broaden our horizons and see what else we can squeeze from the turnip. And
the good news is we're going to have some real exciting news that is going to uplift us. We just don't know how to think about it yet because it's not here. But, once they announce, you're going to come out and one day they're going to say the Panthers begun the interviewing process for GMs. And then all of a sudden it's quickly going to come to pass because they already know who they're going to hire before they even have the damn interviews, probably almost. And then there's going to be like 2 days later, there's going to be an announcement of a coach because that's been mashed up and part of it. So we're going to have all that excitement going forward. So there is some hope right now, but we do have to get through these last 2 games together. And, they do say a lot of people get depressed at the Christmas season and the holiday season. So don't worry. We're not alone. And second, you can always get on the couch here on Tuesday nights and after the game. And I think there's only one last call. Let's see what it says. Let's see if it's another.
Yeah, when I got some time to ponder Panthers, I kind of got to thinking maybe we need some new jock straps.
Oh. I think it's a jab at me being the jock shaft washer.
Was that it? That was the whole call?
That was it. That was it. All right. Okay, guys, let's see. The Panthers are last in the division.
Hooray!
Yeah, actually, it's kind of a good thing. How has Tampa Bay gotten so good?
You know something, man. I feel bad because one of my best friends growing up is a Falcons fan, and him and I, my whole life, been going back and forth. Just every year, have a good time talking about it. It's all in good fun. And I remember there was a point where the Panthers were 5-2.
Yeah.
This year, we were 5-2, and I think the Falcons had won 1 game, and they were 1-6. And I sent him a message with a few of my other friends about how pathetic the Falcons were, and how what happened to this team, this rivalry and blah blah blah. And then the Falcons ran us twice this year, and now they are beating us in the division. And I am eating so much crow right now, man. Like my mouth tastes so much crow, dude. It's insane. And I don't know. We're last in the division.
It was awesome, though. It's good. Their success is our gain, though.
Yeah.
At this point, yes.
Well, because what it means is whatever NFC division we play next year, we're going to be playing the dead last team from every one of those divisions. And it means a better draft pick for us this year. So.
Well, let's see. We played the NFC West this year. We played the NFC East last year. So that means we played the NFC.
Next year, we will play the NFC North. We just got a super chat.
Oh, man. $5. Thanks, Ross.
$5 lover bomb from Ross.
Yeah, man.
Got a question for y'all. Who should Tep hire first as a coach or GM? A coach or a GM, I can't read apparently. Assistant GM or whatever he's calling it. So I kind of think that the GM is an important part in hiring the coach. I think that you want to give your general manager an opportunity to have a say-so in the type of people that he brings in because that's their job. The general manager, he does a lot of stuff. I remember Tony, you did an interview with a guy on here one time talking about general managers, and he was saying everything that they have to do, from appointing the medical staff to making sure all the equipment is there. I mean, there's a lot that goes into being a GM, and whenever you're going to hire a head coach, it's very important to have a general manager that knows what kind of vision the team is trying to enact. So I think they should do that first, but I don't think that'll happen. I kind of think we're going to end up having a brand new coach before we hire an assistant GM.
So you think a new GM is the first way we should go? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's the way I would.
I think it has to be. I don't think it makes sense another way.
I have to disagree, man. And for the reason you said in your last statement, because your last statement kind of made my point with this was, you've got to have a coach and a GM that are together, that the GM is going to do whatever they need to do for the coach. So the best thing is to get a coach, invest in the coach, and hire a GM who's going to draft and trade and manage the team the way the coach wants to run the team.
Well, and I think David Tepper, if he has his eyes on someone right now, and, you know, if he wants to get a jump on hiring that person, then yeah, he's not going to wait around to hire an assistant general manager. So yeah, that's why I don't think it'll happen. But normally you want your general manager to be a part of making those hires. So yeah. So that's why I would do it that way.
I think it's one of those situations where it doesn't matter which one you do first, but whichever one you do first, you need to invest in that and have the other one kind of follow their lead. As opposed to, if you're a GM, you need a coach who's going to follow what the GM wants to do, and vice versa with the coach. If you need a coach, you need to invest in him and have the GM hire and draft the way the coach wants to play the game. So I don't think you can lose either way. It's just one of those things, you know, you got to make the decision what lottery ticket you want to buy.
Right.
You know?
Well, it's like the levels of the chain of command, right? So if you're the owner of a football team, you defer to your general manager. He's the next in command. You know, he's the one that kind of enacts the will of the owner on the franchise. So, you know, if you own a restaurant, then your general manager is, you know, the front of the house manager that makes sure everything runs smoothly. You have a kitchen manager. Everyone has their place. And the better teams in football all have general managers that have a vision for the future of the football team, whether it's coaching, player type. It's an important thing, man. It can make or break a franchise. Look at what happened with David Gettleman, and we're still recovering from a lot of that debacle that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think the point is that those guys need to be able to work in like unison together.
Yeah.
You know, lockstep, single vision. And I do think there is, whatever it is whatever the decision is, I think is going to tell us a lot about what Tepper thinks the way to build the franchise is, you know, or the team is. Because if you do hire the coach first, then you're saying he's the answer and the other guy's got to fit to him. If you hire the GM first, then you're saying he's going to be instrumental in picking a coach and we're going to do this together. Or I'm really just interested in the combo, man. And I think that the combo, man, is going to be Caserio, McDaniels. And do you have any concerns now that their offense sucks, Cody? I'm so excited about that. But then the same time, those names are coming into my orbital sphere here. The New England Patriots offense is broken. Cody, does that have any, does that cling to McDaniels in any way?
Well, that McDaniels doesn't terrify me as much as the Caserio thing does. Because if you look at that Patriots offense, they don't have many good receivers.
Nope.
And they, by the way, the Patriots never drafted good receivers. What's the last receiver that the Patriots drafted that's been worth a damn that they didn't bring in free agency? Oh wait, there aren't a whole lot, and they're not elite level talents anyway. I'm not so sure that they're zeroed in on any one particular person right now. I'm still betting on Kevin Colbert just because he has those Pittsburgh Steelers ties. And I think whenever David Tepper says analytical, he's talking about guys like Kevin Stefanski, the offensive coordinator from the Minnesota Vikings. I still think those two are probably the most in play, but I don't know. I'm not unhappy with either of those. Casario and McDaniels and Colbert and Stefanski. I'm happy with any one of those pairs.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Just to answer your question, Cody, this is funny. What was your question? When was the last wide receiver they drafted that was any good?
No, the last one that was like a.
Okay, so they drafted. How do you say his name?
And don't say Gronk.
No, they said they said was it has something Harry?
N'Keal Harry.
Him this year. Okay, all right. So they drafted N'Keal.
Who I was not very high on my personal.
He hasn't played at all this year. He does. No, he has 7 catches for 55 yards, 2 touchdowns. But listen to this.
But he's only played a few plays.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But listen to this. No wide receiver in 2018. None in 2017. One in the 7th in 2016. None in 2015. One in the 7th in 2014. The last time that they drafted a wide receiver higher than the 7th, other than last year, was Aaron Dobson in 2013 in round 2. They, again, 2012 wide receiver in the 7th. They haven't drafted any. None in 2011. None. One in the 4th. That's crazy. They haven't drafted any wide receivers in the last 10 years, Cody, and they have been awesome. Think about that.
Okay.
No, they haven't. Think about how successful they've been, and they have none of their wide receivers have come through the draft. 0.
No.
And that's the thing
that's insane.
That's the thing. Although I don't like the McDaniels as the head coach idea, it just doesn't sit well with me. I don't know why. It's a New England coach thing. I don't know, but I don't take away from his coaching success the things that are happening right now, because you're right. We did mention he has no weapons. I mean, he has Julian Edelman, but Julian Edelman is an aging receiver, and he's the only guy there. There's really nobody else. I mean, James White maybe, but they also have a 41-year-old quarterback. So let's start to accept the fact that he might be falling off the edge. Although I think Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, that's depending on if you count the cheating and the fact that he was in a division that's been the weakest division for the last 20 years.
And how about this? Tom Brady, for the first time in 11 years, I think, did not make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, but he's definitely falling off. So people need to start to accept that. He's had a great run, but at some point in time, man, Father Time always wins.
And Greg, I want to highlight one of our comments in the chat, because it went to something that you and I were talking about with the GM or the coach. Joey Esquivel says, if you don't hire a GM first, then you have a Jet situation with the question mark. And basically what he means by that is the past few times the Jets have had to hire a general manager, they weren't able to bring in their own head coach. So that means that whenever they had to fire a coach, that general manager fired a coach that he had no say-so in bringing in. And then they fire the general manager, and then the coach comes in. That's why I get that. Yeah, traditionally you want to have that general manager out front. And I just thought that was a good comment to kind of highlight what I maybe failed to say.
The Patriots have drafted 16 wide receivers since 2000.
So in 19 years, that's one receiver.
In 19 years,
a little
less than one that
year.
they've only had one. They've only had one first round pick wide receiver in that number.
That's this year.
they had most of them are sevenths. All right. So listen to this. They had a first round. Then what did I say? They also had a 6 in 2018. They had Edelman was a 7th rounder, dude.
Right.
But other than that, how is that? How can you be so successful? We're sitting here. We've put more stock into wide receivers in the last 4 years as the Carolina Panthers than they have in the last 20 years in one position. And they have had Randy Moss, by the way. And you said that they didn't have any receivers this year. They also had Josh Gordon this year. They had Antonio Brown this year.
They had Antonio Brown for one game. You can't count that. They had him for one game.
I know, but it's still they had who's the little guy from Los Angeles that they had for a couple of years who signed a big deal.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. So they haven't drafted anyone,
I'm saying right now.
But they've still had good receivers in 20 years.
100%.
That's
100%,
crazy.
I agree with you. Yeah, they've had some great receivers. Think about what was his name? Wes Welker. Wes Welker was great for the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't know where he came from.
Garbage, you know.
So, but that's why I said right now my front runner is still Kevin Colbert. So now let's look at the flip side of that. Look at how many good receivers the Steelers have drafted. And by the way, drafting receivers is not the benchmark of a good football team. We understand that. But if you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, they're playing without Ben Roethlisberger. They have no Le'Veon Bell. They have no Antonio Brown. All of the centerpieces of their football team have fallen away. And yet they're still right there, man. When you have a good coach and you know how to hit on that mid-round talent, there aren't too many organizations in all of football that know how to get the most out of their draft picks than, in my opinion, the Ravens and the Steelers. So I love that Steeler connection. Kevin Colbert, in my mind, would be a money pick.
I've heard the intriguing name of Dan Morgan.
Really?
Dude, I like that. You know, Dan Morgan's been involved with the Seahawks a lot for the last
he's with the Buffalo Bills right now with the head of personnel. He's actually a person of interest on the list of people that could come to Carolina with his ties here, and the success he had with the scouting and everything. So that's something that I think might have been Joe Person on The Athletic may have reported on that one. He had a long list of people. Dan Morgan was number 2 on that list, but I thought that was rather intriguing with the history that brings to the Carolina Panthers. It kind of ties the old with the new again, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
I remember I wanted Dan Morgan the last time we were talking about GM.
And he's more seasoned now, too. You know what I'm saying? He's been with more organizations, more time, seen more things, so then you're not overwhelmed. Yeah,
you said he's with Buffalo right now, and they're pretty successful right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've won. They've gone. They're going to be going to the playoffs for the second year in 3 years.
They might win the division,
and he's going to
I'm banking on it.
There's a chance.
If they win out and New England loses their last game, they can win the division.
There is a chance of that happening, and him being a former player.
They have to win out, and New England loses out.
But Dan Morgan being a former player, I'm happy you mentioned that because I do remember. At a point in time, really being interested in the thought of Dan Morgan.
This was back when we were wondering if Marty was going to be the guy, right?
Yeah.
Interim.
Yeah. Well, remember he had to step down because of some BS for this.
Oh, well, it was like, for 2 days. Yeah, that kind of made up.
We interviewed people. Yeah, it was a whole ordeal.
I think, I do think it'd be interesting because, you know, it is about kind of having those relationships, having that Brandon Beane introduction from Dan Morgan might mean something. I don't know if it does or if that none of that resonates with Tepper because those associations don't matter anymore. But I like the idea of a guy that not hoping that a guy can become something he's never done, but in a way, he's been being groomed in an executive position for a long time. NFL, and that's going to help you. All right, I don't know if there's anything else to talk about when it comes to the Panthers so far. We're going to save all the talk when it comes to the GMs and the coaches because we got plenty of time to do that. We do play who we got this week?
The Colts.
The Colts. All right. So I mean, I'm picking the Colts to win. I mean, if you guys are going to just go pick some rounds here, but any thoughts on this game? As make your pick and give us any thoughts on the game that you're interested in.
I hate to say it, it's the Panthers. The Colts. If you watch the game against New Orleans, we're
going to win. You're saying we're going to win?
Yeah, and I say it because they have Marlon Mack, but Marlon Mack is one-dimensional. He doesn't do much out of the backfield, and you have. And I'm telling you, if you were watching that New Orleans game, Jacoby Brissett was grossly overthrowing people. Our defense should have a field day if he has to throw the ball if we get ahead, which I believe we will. I don't think their secondary is very good. They were letting these guys, and this was, yes, the Saints certainly with Drew Brees, they were letting just folks walk past them. You know, it was hard to watch because I wanted the Saints to struggle. I was almost hoping they would lose that game so they lost home field advantage. But I do think the Panthers win this, unfortunately. I think Grier doesn't necessarily come out and light it up, but I think we do win this one, and I think McCaffrey has a big day. So I'm going to say 28-21 Panthers.
All right. I'm not it doesn't surprise me if that happens at all. In my mind, this could very easily be a get right game for us at the end of the season if it's possible to get right at this point in time. I don't think it is, but I am saying that I think the Colts. I don't know, man. I so badly.
I want the Colts to win. I do. I do.
I think
we all do.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, man. I think there's a very real scenario.
They have no receivers. They have no tight ends. I mean, everybody is hurt on that team. T.Y. Hilton is still hobbling, a little bit, and Jacoby Brissett can't even get the ball to him, when he is open. So I mean, there's just not much on that offense that makes me believe that our defense is going to have a lot coming its way outside of Marlon Mack, who is a decent running back, but he is not a lights out. He's not lighting up scoreboards every single week.
You know what? I'm going to echo my man Brad Dugan in the chat. I'm going to say 30-27 Colts because I'm just hoping, dude.
I think the Colts win this game, but okay. I mean, I guess I could see that. Maybe all of a sudden our what it's going to be is Brian Burns going to have like 5 sacks.
That much of a better team than we are from what you've seen of them?
They were pretty good early in the season. You know what I'm saying?
They were in the fight for the division early in the season, just like we were. They fell off the same way we did.
Yeah, so
I'm picking the Colts. I'm picking the Colts. What do you got, Greg?
I'm taking the Colts, man. One of my best buds, man. He's a Colts fan. He's coming over to watch the game. I just hung up a new TV over the fireplace. We're gonna light a fire and watch this Colts-Panthers game because we actually went to the last Colts-Panthers game that was in Carolina. That Carolina won in overtime in the pouring rain.
And it was Monday night?
And Monday night.
2015?
It was a horrible game to be at because it was pouring down rain.
I was there, dude.
But
I was there with you.
I had the flag hanging up over there, man. But we went to that game, and we made a rule that whenever we talked about that game, we had to refer to it as whoever won the game as that game. Like it was the Colts won, it would have been the Colts game. And since the Panthers won, we always refer to it as the Panthers game.
Yeah.
Ever since then. Like, hey, you remember when we were at the Panthers game, we did this? But I do think the Colts are going to take this, and I think that because they have lost so many games this year, I think 3 or 4 games this year on a kick, I think they're going to kick to win the game. I say 29-27 Colts.
It's like we're playing our mirror opposite team because we've lost a bunch of games on our kicks.
Bizarro.
Can I ask this before we move on? Are we going to have to deal with the contingent of the Panther fandom that, let's just say, Will Grier balls out against the Colts and the Saints?
And then now we have
and let's just say, are Panther fans going to do the whole thing? And the media too? Are they going to do the same thing?
You're not.
Grier that they did for Kyle Allen.
They are.
And just
I promise you they will.
Anoint Will Grier the next coming of Carolina football god.
Playing two teams that don't need nothing. Yep.
I could so easily see that happening.
I just want him to come out and look. Is everybody acts like the one game he played or the 2 games he played in the preseason tell us all we can know about Will Grier?
They don't.
Not at
And
all.
I just want to
first preseason. That's all I'm saying.
I just want to see him come out and look like he can manage the huddle. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him maybe connect on some balls that go, oh man, he's got a stronger arm than Will Grier than Kyle Allen. I want to see a couple of things like that, and I want to see him just not play just flustered. You know what I'm saying? To where it's just like, oh God, I'm getting sacked, throw the ball over there, fall on the ground. If he just does that, I will be super excited. But yes, Cody, yes, that's what people are going to do. Especially if they come out and he threw like 2 touchdowns and an interception maybe, and we won this game, and then he goes and wins again against the Saints, everybody's going to be like, it's time to move on from Cam. It's the Will Grier show.
No. It's going to be a frustrating thing to see, but right now, just so you guys know, they're 24th in offense. We're 19th. They're 16th in total defense. We're 26th, obviously. We're not very good. They're 27th in passing offense. If you guys don't know, that's 5 from the last spot. But they are 9th in total rushing in the season. So they, that's our weakness. But if they have no other if they have no other options as far as offensive output in the passing game, I think we might have an opportunity to stop them from the run and maybe move up this chart a little bit in a better spot from the rushing defense or rushing offense side of things. But anyway, I still hold true to Carolina Panthers winning. Not that I want it.
Fun fact here, I just was looking up because I wanted to ask you guys if Doug Peterson got fired, would you be cool with him getting hired? Not tonight, though. But I was just looking at a story. Deshaun Hall plays for the damn Eagles right now. Got 1 sack.
Is he doing anything?
No. But, hey, just another name of another dude like Christian Miller or whoever else that this team
just doesn't get an opportunity.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. All right. So, who else is playing this week? Let's see.
The Saints.
Titans. Saints, Titans. Ooh.
Oh, gosh.
So, by the way, I do want to at least point this out, though, that if the Colts beat us, the Saints, they can't rest their starters like they did last year because they're playing for the number 1 seed in the NFC. They have the 49ers with a similar record, the Seahawks, and now the Green Bay Packers, too. So it's not like there's a very real chance that we lose the next 2 games and have a top 10 pick.
Hey, well, real quick before we move on, Cody, I was talking to you about this earlier, and I told you I had a question for you that I wanted to bring up on the show real quick.
Yeah, man.
And I've been saying this for a long time. There's a good chance that we're going to have a really high draft pick. I'm predicting somewhere from 6 to 8. Like when the season finishes up, I'm saying about 6 to 8 is where we're going to be. Cody, who do you think we can pick at that point that we need? That is your guy to take in the those kind of positions that might be available.
So I'm not sure about this yet. I believe the highest number possible for us to be is 8. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's as high as we're able to move up. I could be wrong, but I do remember seeing that. But really, man, it's kind of a pick your poison kind of deal. Andrew Thomas just announced that he will forgo his final season and declare for the draft. That's the left tackle from Georgia. That's probably a top 5 pick. The name that a lot of Panther fans have been saying a lot, and I do think he would be there for us, is Derek Brown, the defensive tackle from Auburn. And this is a guy that you can put in the middle, put him at 1 tech or 0, and he will still provide a pass rush, even though they don't traditionally pass rush from that position of defensive tackle. Tristan Riffs, the left tackle from Iowa, is another name that I would love to have on our football team right now, especially since Greg Little is kind of up in the air health-wise. We only had 1 year. We don't know quite what he is yet. And then Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, the linebacker, safety, hybrid, 6'4", runs at 4'3" at 230 pounds.
Wow.
The dude is
Wow.
the dude is a
That's insane.
And
that
I'm
is
just saying,
insane.
the last time we picked a linebacker in the top 10, that dude turned out to be pretty good. I don't know if y'all.
The last few
put it
times we picked a
down.
linebacker high, they've turned out
Yeah.
pretty good because it was John Beeson before that, wasn't it?
Well,
And John Beeson was pretty good for a few years.
Yeah.
For Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, John Beeson was, when they were both in there at the same time, better than Thomas Davis at one point.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of options,
pretty
man. Grant Delpit from LSU, the safety, the single high safety, Jeffrey Okuda. So how about this? If you're tired of Bradbury and Dante Jackson, dude, Jeffrey Okuda from Ohio State, 6'1".
Oh, God.
Runner.
Oh my God! I'm watching this the Derek Brown guy's highlights.
Monster.
And this running back runs up and he picks him up like a football, like a wrestler, and slams it picked him up like a what? Good God!
Yeah.
So okay, Cody, out of all those guys you just said, who would you want? Say we have the number 8 pick. Let's just say that's the mark we'll put it at, number 8. Who do you want? Out of everybody you just said, all of them are available. All of them are available.
I mean, if all of them are available, I'm picking Andrew Thomas from Georgia, the left tackle.
Okay.
I don't even care that we drafted Greg Little. If you have an opportunity at that kind of player, then I'd be all in on Andrew Thomas. A shutdown left tackle. Isaiah Simmons is another one. That kind of weapon. Shout out to Alex Stark in the comments that Simmons remind me of Jalen Smith from the Cowboys, and I do like that comparison a lot.
Yeah.
It's a sideline to sideline linebacker. Man, dude, if Jeffrey Okuda falls to us, look up Jeffrey Okuda from Ohio State and look up what that guy is doing right now and tell me you wouldn't love to have him on our team. Imagine if you put Dante Jackson and James Bradbury and put them together into one human. The frame of Bradbury, but the athleticism and the speed of Jackson.
Okay.
That's Jeffrey Okuda. But I haven't dove deep into my player evals quite yet. After the season's over, I'm going to do a crazy dive on a ton of different players. So I'll be able to fill y'all in.
Good deal.
All right, so who's winning this? We got everybody taking the Saints against the Titans.
Yep.
I am. I mean, I don't think. I mean, good luck if you are trying to pick the other one. All right, and who else is it? It's going to be. Let's see, where did it go? You got me looking up highlights now.
Hey man, it's that time of season, dude.
Yep.
And then shout out to Brad Dugan. If we move on from Cam, there's going to be some quarterbacks there too.
Yeah.
All right, so the Buccaneers have got the Texans. The Buccaneers at home against the Texans. I'm picking the Buccaneers, man. Trying to run late in the season.
Who are they playing?
The Texans, who did beat.
Oh, I think Houston. They'll wrap it up.
Okay. All right, what you got, Greg?
It'll be fun though.
I'm going to take Houston too because every time I've talked about the Buccaneers and how good they are this season, they've gone and lost. And I don't pick them the next week and they go blow somebody out of the water. So I'm going to say Houston.
All right, CK, what you got?
You know what? I am going to go Houston here as well. They have a lot to play for at this point. Now, granted, nobody's coming up and taking that spot away from them. But I think that they have a lot more to play for than the Bucs do. So I do pick the Houston Texans. And also, Greg, you look tired as heck.
Yeah, I am, man. It's been a long week.
All right, and then the last game is the Falcons, and the Falcons have got the Jaguars at home. I'm picking the Falcons.
This is a type of game the Jaguars that the Falcons lose, isn't it?
Jaguars came back in the game on the road against the Oakland Raiders last week. How about that?
Well, I got
in the last
game in Oakland Stadium.
Yeah, ruined every. Minshew goes in there and forever puts the shit stain on the Oakland Raiders?
Based on the fact that I think that if we lose, it helps us for the Jaguars to lose more than it does for the Falcons too, because the Falcons already have the tiebreaker with us. So I'm gonna take the Jaguars to win. So I'm gonna take the Jaguars to win this one. I think that helps our draft position more than the Falcons winning this one. I'm not sure though. It may not make a difference, but Jags.
All right, we're at the end of the show. Everybody's getting winding down. We're trying to find things to talk about. We got one last segment.
You mean we're gonna have a show that doesn't
less than 2 hours?
I know. Let's go ahead. I think everybody's ready for it to end now. Man, that's crazy. All right, it's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We got one last segment to do the Ice Up Picks of the Week. Let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up, and I don't know if I can I? All right, Josh Gordon, Ice Up, I guess. Actually, I don't really ice him up. I feel like I want to ice the NFL up for the whole Josh Gordon thing. And it's like, gosh, how many times? Why is it so weird? Why is the Josh Gordon thing so weird all the time? And again, against Popped, now they say performance-enhancing drugs is what I saw the story say.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. So it's a lot different than what years past. But
yeah, so Josh Gordon, I guess good for you for trying to take a paycheck every place you can find one ready for someone to cut you one. Ice up to all those conversations about Josh Gordon coming to the Panthers in the future. And ice up to anybody who wants Phillip Rivers as our quarterback next year as well. That's my ice up pick.
Y'all want to go next?
Go ahead, Greg.
Okay, so I can go. I'm actually icing up an article on the catscratchreader.com, and it's kind of deceiving. The article, it's the Carolina Panthers are now on track for a top 10 pick in the 2020 drafts. And, I was reading through the article, and I like, what they're saying about this. They're talking about the same kind of stuff I've been talking about the Panthers having a, high pick. Then it talks about the Panthers' recent overall top 10 picks, and it says Cam Newton, number 1, first overall, and Luke Kuechly, 9th, 2012, were undeniable hits. Agreed, 100%. No doubt. Then it says the jury is still out on third such selection as Christian McCaffrey.
What?
Okay. It says Christian McCaffrey has only been honored an All-Pro once in his now 3-year career and did not set single-season records from scrimmage until his 3rd season. So that was previously, by the way, held by Steve Smith. It says, furthermore, McCaffrey showed significant promise as a passer in 2018, but failed to step up in Newton's absence in 2019. He was 1 for 1 for 50 yards and a touchdown last season. He's 0 for 2 this year. It's possible the Panthers should end up benching McCaffrey instead of Kyle Allen for Will Grier.
This is a joke. This has gotta be a joke.
I'm telling you, I will send you the link, man. I sent Cody the link earlier. It's insane. I was reading this. I was like, what are they talking about, man?
Gotta be a parody. There's no way that, because they said he's only gotten the All-Pro nod 1 out of his 3 years. They haven't even voted on the All-Pro for his 3rd year. So he's got a 50% All-Pro resume, and that's with him being the backup to Jonathan Stewart his first year.
Yeah, it's just
oh my gosh.
The jury is still out on the 3rd selection. Christian McCaffrey blows my mind because there is no way anybody can argue at all that over the last at least year and a half, maybe 2 years, Christian McCaffrey has been the best player on the Carolina Panthers, hands down. I love Luke Kuechly. I love Cam Newton. He has been the best player we have.
Without question. Yeah, there's no debate on that one. But yeah, go ahead and ice that dude up, bro.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. I don't even know who wrote the article. I don't see it on here. It shows the photo. But anyway, by Walker Clement.
It doesn't look like it's a joke either. You know what it looks like? It really looks like a short. Looks like they're dying for people to write right now.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's just weird.
Walker Clement, man.
Yeah, ice up. Yeah, is that that's like, sorry, bro. We all make mistakes in the way we evaluate football, but you can't make that one.
Yeah.
CK, you got something?
You go ahead. I'm still trying to rack my brain.
All right, no, you're fine. So I am icing up former Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin, who just recently lost a race to Democrat Andy Beshear. But this is not a normal political story. Because you see, Matt Bevin is what we call a salty little bitch. And before leaving office, Matt Bevin issued 428 pardons in his final days in office. That list includes a man who had his parents, a man who had killed another man's parents, another convicted of a reckless homicide, and a woman who threw her newborn in the trash. And as a final fuck you to everyone that didn't vote for him, he released 428 prisons. That is the definition of a salty little bitch.
Prisons or prisoners?
Prisoners.
Okay.
And then it turns out that one of a guy that had his parents killed by this one man who is being released from prison, this dude held a fundraiser for Matt Bevin. And then Matt Bevin then goes and releases his parents' murderer from prison. So, dude, you cannot make this shit up. Politics is such a shit show right now. But that is the most pathetic thing that I've heard in a long time. To Matt Bevin, not only are you a salty little bitch, but you need to ice up, son.
Good luck after following that, CK.
What is Skip?
You could have just said Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd. I think Colin Cowherd tweeted out that it's obvious that Ron Rivera wasn't the problem.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he was a problem, but he was not the problem. Well, that is completely the exact reason, right? He's got to be the problem. Anyway, sorry. We've already gone past Ron Rivera. Anyway, I guess it's going to be just ice myself up at this point. I got this new system with the webcam and this microphone, and it changes life for me right now. I'm telling you, it's so much more convenient to not be talking through my mics, my earbuds mics. So ice up to me for not making this decision earlier. So I'm definitely going to lose this ice up tonight. Ice up, Cody. Ice up.
All right, man. Look, that's perfect. We're glad you. That's an ice up we like right there. A lot of people, you know what? I should ice myself up. A lot of people have been making fun on the podcast that when I lean back in my chair and look left, it looks like I have a little head inside the helmet and on the wall. All right. It's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're the #1 Panthers podcast. Been going 7 years. We don't quit. Now, that we're going to have to figure out what to do about Christmas Eve because there ain't no way we're going to have a Christmas Eve podcast and nor a Christmas Day podcast, nor so check
this out. We have a New Year's Eve is a Tuesday and Christmas Eve is a Tuesday. So we're going to have to move 2 shows.
Or we can be with family. Which is us. We're all family here. We can do it.
Or we could just bring in the new year together with a 4-hour podcast.
New Year's party online.
All right.
Baby.
All right. So we'll either be a day early on New Year's Eve, or maybe we'll catch it the day after Christmas, something like that. Because I know we'll all be busy with the holidays and things. But we'll keep you posted. We'll check Twitter. We'll be around. We'll squeeze some type of show in there, and then and also on New Year's, it might be the day after New Year's, not New Year's Day, but the 2nd or something like that. We'll check it all out. All right, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. My name's Tony Dunn at @cat_Chronicles. Cody, how can they find you on Twitter?
At Cody Lack, CODYLAC. Hit me up. We'll have a brand new mock draft coming out. Not this week, but next week. We'll have a brand new. So look out for that. Comment for the Panthers and the Texans on drafttech.com.
CK, where can they follow you?
Pretty much anywhere. if you want to look me up on Twitter, it's going to be at Codizzle Allen, CODIZZLE, Codizzle Allen, ALLEN. And give me some followers, guys. Share me, write me, like me, retweet me, comment me, whatever.
I do like you, and
I just want to be in your life. I just want to be in your life, and just welcome me with open arms.
All right, Greg, what you got? I started watching The Watchmen, Greg.
Oh, nice, good. You can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. I also have another show. It's a Super Civil Servants podcast. You can find that anywhere you get your RSS feed. Speaking of The Watchmen, Mr. Cody Lack is going to be on the show.
Yes, sir.
The first show of the year, I think, January 3rd, and we're going to be doing a review of the first season of The Watchmen. So if you're into that kind of stuff, come check out Cody on the show. But guys, I'm going to geek out for a second. We're 2 days away from episode 9. I'm so excited. In less than in 48 hours, I'll be sitting down watching the movie right now. So Star Wars soon. Love it.
Enjoy it, man.
Okay. Can I submit a question for your show right now?
You sure can.
Yeah.
Okay. My question for your show is this: what movies that classify as Christmas movies that are outside the scope of just this was written for a Christmas movie? Are there any sci-fi Christmas movies? And because I firmly believe Die Hard is a Christmas movie, is Lethal Weapon also a Christmas movie? So I'd like for you to talk about what makes a Christmas movie, and if there are any sci-fi nerd Christmas movies.
Okay, cool. I will put that down. We'll talk about it.
My favorite Christmas movie is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
There you go.
That's just a good movie, man. That's a good
deal. Yeah, that's one of my best friends, his favorite movie. All right, guys, we'll be here next Tuesday, or is that Christmas?
No, Wednesday is Christmas. Tuesday is Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, we'll not be here next Tuesday. Maybe Monday. Maybe Thursday.
Monday, yeah.
Who knows? We'll be in touch, though. Until then, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Peace.
Keep pounding.